So I'm a singer, first and foremost, a singer and a songwriter more so than I am an instrumentalist or a producer. So tracking vocals is always one of my favorite parts and also my most terrifying, anxiety-inducing parts. So much of how I feel about a song that I record is linked to the way that I feel about the vocal performance. I was very nervous to record vocals for these songs, also because the songs are pretty vulnerable and bring up a lot of emotions that I had been sitting with and kind of pushing down for a while, and working on this album forced me to confront a lot of my own pain and my own flaws and ways I had failed and insecurities and all sorts of things. So being in the studio singing the words that I wrote to myself over and over and having to analyze them for the performance was a really interesting experience. In the past, when I had recorded vocals for previous projects, I would sometimes have 20 to 25 takes of any lead vocal pass, and we would go through and comp between, maybe 10 of them. So when we were recording this album, it wasn't anything like that. We would do less than 10 takes of each song, and almost every time there was 1 or 2 takes that were the takes that really conveyed the emotion that I wanted to share. So once I realized that I was able to perform the songs the way that I wanted to without having to do that much editing afterwards, I felt a lot more confident in the studio. And sometimes we would do 2 or 3 songs a day. So it wasn't like we were just doing one song. The singles were all done in single day sessions, sometimes 2 days if we needed to pick up some backgrounds. And for example, the day that we did On Accident, which is a really big rock song, I was really sick. I had a honey bear that I had in the room with me, and I was just drinking it out of the bottle. I had lozenges all day. I was drinking water nonstop, but it had to be done. And fortunately, it ended up working out. And so at the end, that big verse where I'm screaming and I'm going, ah! My voice breaks there, and it's because I was actually really sick. And there were a lot of days that I was crying in the studio. I mean, the day that I tracked Summer, I did Summer and If Only You the same day, and I did Summer first. And I just started bawling in the studio as I was singing that. Like, there are a couple takes that we didn't end up using where I'm just like, what are we doing? And the thing that's cool about Changed, which you will eventually see this, is that Changed, what you hear on the album is actually a single take of the guitar and the vocals. We did a live session for that, and so we did 10 takes of that, and we picked the 8th one. That was the only really flat moment in the whole fucking take.
It's okay.
And that was the last song that had to be done for the album. And as soon as that was wrapped, it was so cool because it was almost a year to the day that we had started recording at Igloo. Dan had come down from Canada and stayed with me for 3 weeks, and we did our first drum tracking for the singles at Igloo, January of 2019. January 2020, we recorded Changed live in the studio, and so many people that I loved and had been part of the project just started showing up, and everyone was there at the studio. This guitar takes fucking AAA.
That's rad. Screw you, 9-volt.
Screw you, 9-volt. I just started bawling. I couldn't help it. I was just so overwhelmed that we had finished an entire 12-song record in a year, and that it was just so full circle.
I just cried my eyes out at Igloo tonight. I finished the last song on the record.
There's a lot of emotion, but I'm really proud that it's out and that it's something that I can share now with you, because it was something that I had been keeping really close to my chest for a long time and felt almost too vulnerable to share. But now it's been out for a couple months, and I'm glad that it's bringing you something.